So another defensive week of soccer for Orange County Soccer Club. 2 matches, 0 goals conceded, has now clinched them a spot in the Western Conference playoffs. And they are peaking at the right time. I believe the last 6 matches, maybe 7, I can't remember, only 1 goal conceded. This is playoff soccer that Orange County is playing, and it's a perfect time for that to be happening. We're going to talk about the matches this past week. We're going to talk about one last preview before the playoffs. So let's get right into this. Welcome to the Show of Champions. This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast. How's it going, Orange County? Welcome to another episode of the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, the first and only show dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club, its fans and supporters. I am your host, Ray Samora. I'm here to take you through this journey as we discuss all things Orange County Soccer Club. Helping me out on this episode, we've got Mr. Dylan. Dylan, how are we feeling right now? I mean, Orange County's playing great. How are we feeling?
We're feeling good. I liked the playoff soccer shout out. I think that's pretty accurate. And there's no better time to get that started than a month before the playoffs start.
Yeah, I mean, the team couldn't have timed this any better if they had tried to on the season to get onto a perfect defensive rally heading into the playoffs. Hopefully they continue that when the playoffs start. Got one other person helping me out for this episode. That's the bearded one himself, the star of the sidelines at Championship Soccer Stadium, Mr. Larry. Larry, how are we doing? How are we feeling? Playoff soccer.
Man, first of all, what an honor it is for me to be here with the 2 OGs right here. I mean, the OGs of the Orange and Black Soccer Cast. I'm a rookie compared to you guys, but hey, let's talk about a soccer team and how good these guys are. 1 goal conceded in 6 games. Moving into the playoffs, that's sick. Nobody's going to want to play us anytime soon. Nobody wants to come.
Well, and that 1 goal conceded was on the road in Las Vegas against a quality opponent. It wasn't like we conceded a goal against a non-quality opponent. And
Agreed.
I know people love attacking-minded, goal-scoring soccer, but for playoff purposes, this is the way to be playing soccer, because in the end, if you do not concede a goal in your match, worst case scenario, you go to PKs and you still have a shot of advancing on that. But if you could just score 1 goal and not concede anything, it's perfect, right? So that's where I look at this when you're looking at elimination style tournament, which is what the USL playoffs are going to be. Not conceding goals is the key thing to giving your chance or your team a good shot at a victory or proceeding or moving on in the knockout stages. They've gotten to this point. Again, we've talked about the last 6 matches, 1 goal conceded. That was against Las Vegas in Las Vegas. This last week, 2 matches, 1 on the road. And this was probably one of those, matches on the road in El Paso that could have been sort of a stumbling block for the team. It's a team that's bottom of the table. It's a midweek match between 2 quality opponents. And you might have a team that's looking ahead to what can we do against New Mexico, but they didn't. They went to El Paso. They did Orange County Soccer Club stuff in El Paso, and they come away with 3 points on the road. Again, a team that they definitely should be getting 3 points on, but you still have to go out there and do your thing. First thing I'm going to call out for this match that I'm excited for is Cameron Dunbar on the score sheet. Finally, after 30 some odd matches with this team, he finally gets on the scoring sheet for Orange County with a nice goal. Dylan, what's up?
He scored in Pittsburgh, my friend. He scored in match week 2.
Okay. Well, it was so long ago. It didn't feel like he has scored this season.
It did take him 29 or 30, depending on how you count match week. 29 full match weeks to repeat.
And I will say this with him, it doesn't have anything to do with not trying, because he's taken shots. Just a lot of times the shots have gone wide. But this was nice to see out of Cameron Dunbar. It's a good piece. We talked about it earlier in the season when Ethan Zubak was struggling to put the ball in the net. Finally got a few matches where he got the ball to hit the back of the net, and now he's pretty consistent in scoring for this team, or he's at least you don't feel nervous when he's the one taking the shot now for Orange County. Maybe this is sort of the start of that wake up for Cameron, which would be nice to get him going heading into the playoffs and have Ethan Zubak, Cameron Dunbar, Bryce Jamison as three really dangerous players up top that can score for Orange County. And again, the defense is the key thing. Dylan, your thoughts on this match in El Paso midweek? How did you feel? Were you impressed with what you saw from Orange County? Is there anything that concerns you from what you saw from them?
Not particularly. I think this was a really good result. Orange County, I think it's been spoken about before, had never actually gotten a result in El Paso before. I think last week I had made jokes about pulling out excuses for everything, ranging from altitude to travel to playing on a baseball field. But Orange County stuck to their game plan. Again, it's kind of get the ball to the middle third of the pitch and then get it up to a winger really quickly. Get that cross into Ethan Zubak or whoever happens to be inside. For those watching the video highlights or for those who maybe remember the first goal, that's exactly what Orange County did to score that first goal. And it's really hard to do because teams, if they overcommit to, stifling up a Bryce Jamison and Owen Lamb combination, if they overcommit to, stifling up the left side with the Ryan Dogman, Cameron Dunbar, Chris Hagart, they just leave the middle open. And if you don't think that, anybody playing down the middle of this park, even a Dylan Powers, can score from 30, 35 yards, you're mistaken. So, yeah. Did El Paso have the lion's share of the possession? Yes. Did they do anything with it? No. And so once again, we are having this conversation where it doesn't really matter what you do with the numbers. It's just, can you get a result? It's playoff soccer, guys. We've been in playoff mode for a month and a half. We're experts at it at this point. And as we watch the video highlights again, get the ball wide to a winger, have them get across in the box. Ethan Zubak nearly getting one again. It's really hard for teams to defend against it. There's a reason it's worked well so far. And I'm happy with this result. This is exactly what we needed. And I think it took a lot of pressure off the team needing a result against New Mexico. Things felt a lot less dire as we headed into Saturday.
I love, and I know I said it and I know you're reiterating, but I just love, hey, this team's been playing playoff soccer now for well over a month at this point. They dug themselves in a deep enough hole where they got to a point where if they don't win or they don't get results, they're not going to make the playoffs. And they've figured out a way to do that. Credit has to go to someone like Coach Danny Stone, who came in. He's only lost one match, and that's the very first match where he was at the head against Las Vegas, where I think he had 2 or 3 days officially to train the team heading into that match, if that. So we're seeing a quality style of play from Orange County. Captain Marcus Knockin, when I talked to him a couple weeks ago, he knows the quality of this team. He knows the talent that's on his team. And he basically said teams are going to be scared of them because they know how good this team is. They've just been hurt. They've been struggling. They haven't been able to figure out their identity, but guess what? They're finding it out at the right time. And we saw that in El Paso. Larry, your thoughts on this match against El Paso?
I don't know if anybody's aware of this or not, but if you go back to when El Paso beat us at home, that was, I think, August 17th. In the 7 matches, counting that match to the match before we played them here last Wednesday, they'd only lost one time, and that was to Indianapolis. So this is a team that bottom of the table, yes, but they have been very much on form for the last 6-7 weeks themselves. They're getting ties against Detroit, the number 2 seed in the East. So, 60% of the possession against us, they didn't do much with it. So us holding that team to a goose egg and controlling the game without actually even having the ball is a huge achievement for our boys. It was a great performance all the way around. Oh, look, there's Marcus getting smacked in the face and, maybe getting a minor concussion. How lovely. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's a straight red card. What are you complaining about, dude? It was fun. It was a fun game to watch. A little bit frustrating at times. The finish by Ethan Zubak was the most under-celebrated finish of the goal of the year because he went 5-hole on the goalkeeper, and it was fantastic. And then they were just like, "Yeah, okay, I scored. Let's go get some more." And then the Dunbar's goal. I mean, that pass from Kasipli, what was that? 40 yards across to the other side of the pitch and drop it on a dime. It's fantastic. Great performance all the way around. Fun to watch. Enjoyable. The team is just looking sharp. This is absolutely firing on every cylinder that they could be firing on, and they're doing it at the right time.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go back to when this team was struggling. When after we had lost 6-0 to Charleston, we were in a bad run there, right? I think we all were in agreement. If this team can somehow, some way figure out a way to sneak into the playoffs, again, dangerous team for anyone because of the talent on there. Maybe not everyone was buying into that type of statement back then, but you're seeing this team when they have confidence and when they buy into a coach, and a coach that has a legit playoff caliber system in place, which is what Coach Danny Stone has. And I'm gonna bite the bullet here. I'm gonna take some flack here because I think I called out Danny Stone the very first match he coached when we lost to Las Vegas. I questioned some of his substitutions and what he did in that moment. Ever since that match, I've been impressed with what I've seen from this team. I've been impressed with the way the team has been set up. I've been impressed with his rotations. I've been impressed with the style of play and what he has the team doing, and it's working. And this is going to be an amazing. Now, it would suck if we get knocked out in the first round of the playoffs, but what we're seeing, this is playoff soccer. This is the type of soccer that wins championships. It may not be the type of soccer that wins fans, but it's the type of soccer that wins championships. And if you don't understand what I'm meaning by that comment, Dylan can explain it to you maybe a little bit. I don't know. Go for it, Dylan.
I mean, I think you've done enough. What do you have a better question for me, Ray? I mean, do you want me to talk more about the way the systems work? Like, I'll defend him for that first match. You do have to figure out what you want out of these players in a new system, but he's got it figured out now, and I think the team is pulling together in the right way, which is just upwards. I mean, at this point, it's just through 90, 95 minutes every week, and that is a huge departure from what we saw at the beginning of the season. It's a huge departure from what we saw halfway through that season, and that is not to disparage Morten Carlson. That is not to disparage Paul Hardyman any. I think finally, this might have been the perfect set of circumstances where all the players just had to buy in, because otherwise you're a Cameron Dunbar, you're an Ethan Zubak, you're a player where you've played in MLS and you've done well at this level previously, and you've done okay at the next level, but you're taking a chance on yourself. And if you finish bottom of the league and can't score, what, you play in Nisa next? So everyone bucked up and everyone, got behind themselves, backed themselves. And now we get to go to the playoffs.
And
well, that hasn't happened yet. So, and now we're that much closer to the playoffs. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Well, and let's give props to the players, right? Because they could have easily phoned it in after the 6-0 loss against Charleston. They could have basically said the season's over. I mean, this is just, this season's crap. Let's just finish out the season, and then we'll figure out what's happening next year. If I'm staying, if I'm looking for a job elsewhere, right? Coaching change, and the players, like you said, Dylan, have bought into the system. And that shows the real professionalism of these players to, at the lowest point of the season, still figure out or still understand that there's a chance. We just need to do it now or it's not going to work. And so credit obviously to Coach Danny Still, but a lot of credit to the players for not giving up on the season. Cause I think, I'll be honest, I think we were all sort of giving up at that point of the season on the show here. We sort of felt like, oh, this season is crap. It's over. This team is not fighting. This team doesn't want it, but they have shown that they actually wanted this, which is awesome.
Well, and we discussed that amongst ourselves. We can all admit we were not enthusiastic to go on the air after the 6-0 loss to Charleston, but we did because all of us are tremendous fans of this team, and we will stick by them. Next year, they could go 0-34-0, and there's still going to be us doing this podcast. We may not be smiling and happy and making as many jokes as we typically might, but the season was over after the Charleston game, in my opinion. It just wasn't there. The players weren't healthy. They looked lethargic out there. And then we came out in that Las Vegas game, and Danny Stone had been with the team for what, 2 or 3 weeks, I think, maybe at that point, and then had 3 days to prepare a game plan. And then we went up 2-0 in the first half, which was beautiful. And like, oh my God, where has this team been all year? And then we crashed and burned in the second half. But since that second half, this has been arguably the toughest team to beat in all of USL Championship. And moving forward next week and the 4 following weeks going through the playoffs, this is going to be a very, very tough team for anybody to beat. I don't care if you're New Mexico. I don't care if you're Louisville. I don't care if you're Detroit or Indy. Whether we go to your house or you come to our house, we're going to be a very tough team to beat over the next 5 weeks.
And producer Andy, thanks for putting the standings up there. If you look at that, there's only one team that doesn't have any red boxes in the last 5 matches in the Western Conference, which is Orange County. Before we move on to talk about the New Mexico match, Dylan, is there anything from the El Paso match? And the answer can be no. Is there anything in the El Paso match that concerns you?
Yeah. Him getting hit in the face. One, I don't love seeing that. One, that was a case of mistaken identity, no less. And I hope he's back in time. I don't know if that was why he didn't play on Saturday in Ashton Miles. Okay, well, Larry knows everything. So, that's cool and all. Other than that, this for me was a result in which we have never gotten a result at this kind of place before. That probably weighs on some players' minds, certainly weighed on the fans' minds because no one would stop bringing it up, even though we're in such good form. And didn't have a ton of the ball, but we still scored 2 goals. And it doesn't matter that El Paso only had 10 men for like 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
We technically scored 2 goals before that. So,
yeah. I guess the question is the head injury from the ball he took to the head or the fist or slap, I guess. It wasn't really
head injuries tend to be cumulative. So it could be both.
Could have been both.
Who knows? He's back soon.
Anything from you, Larry, that concerns you in that El Paso match?
Nothing really comes to mind. I thought it was just a good all-around performance from the team. We didn't give the ball away a lot. We didn't have the ball a lot to give it away. And again, let's just go back to what we've all been repeating. You can win ugly. I don't care how the team wins. I could give less than 2. You know what? I don't care how they win, as long as they win or get the draws when they need to, like the match we're about to talk about. Ready, go.
Yeah, the getting the results in the style of Bubba Sparks is awesome. Unfortunately, against New Mexico, it wasn't a full 3 points, but they still got a result. And that's all that matters at this point. Get the results. Don't concede goals, and you're going to have some good things to think about, hopefully, in that. So at home against New Mexico, I'm going to pass this on because I'm going to be honest with all of y'all. The match against New Mexico, the match against New Mexico was my birthday, and my family decided to take me elsewhere for my birthday. So I didn't actually get to watch the match. I'm watching the highlights with y'all. So I'm going to hand it off to Dylan, and he's going to take over this conversation with Larry.
Yeah, I just want to lead with, I can't believe your family wouldn't take you to an Orange County game for your birthday.
Okay, wait, Dylan, I'll say this. Originally, we were planning to go to the game with the family, but my boys really wanted to go to Knott's Scary Farm. And this was sort of the only night that we could potentially make it work. So I conceded my going to New Mexico versus Orange County to accommodate my kids' first time at Knott's Scary Farm, which they really wanted to go do.
Oh, okay, Mr. Father.
So give me the Father of the Year award right there.
Yeah, that's lovely. Hey, Orange County's got a result. Maybe because you weren't there. Who's to say? I thought Orange County did pretty well in this match. Maybe it doesn't show up statistically, but against a back five, you're going to struggle to do a lot. Well, I should say it was a back five later in the match, but against a team that's top of the table, you're going to struggle. And I think this was a match that Orange County still needed to get a result from. But New Mexico, I think their primary thing was, hey, let's stop this skid that we've been on. Let's, if nothing else, not concede. I think we saw that. I think we saw that in how the match played out. But Orange County still had a couple of great chances, and I'm still really happy with Cameron Dunbar, especially Bryce Jamison, especially. I thought the two of them did really well in moments to like just absolutely skin their fullbacks, which I think was Will Seymour and Chris Gloucester.
Dubois.
Chris in it. Oh, that's right. Yeah. And Chris Gloucester is an incredible fullback for this level. So watching him just get turned in and out repeatedly was a delight. But this is a team that can be direct. This is also a team that can get on the ball and cause problems and move defenses around. Defensively, I think they did a great job. Colin Shuttler, there were two moments in this match where I was legitimately concerned that we were going to concede, not the one where we actually conceded, even though it was offside. And Shuttler guessed right both times, and he made himself big and read his attacker super well and reacted to that. And he makes it look easy. So, shout out to him, because we saw this in 2021 when we won a cup. It was off the back of the defense. It was off the back of Patrick Gurkovsky at moments, and it was especially off the back of Patrick Gurkovsky as he made a save in St. Petersburg. So, hey, if Colin's doing well and Colin's fit and Colin's really confident, that bodes really well for us. Larry, I've just talked ad nauseum about this match, but what did you see that I didn't?
No, it's fine. I'm going to start with Dunbar and Jamison. Being down there on the end line, watching these two just abuse the defense and watching the moves that they make, and just being that close to, I mean, just within feet. And I got a couple of great videos, and I missed a couple of ones where I should have gotten better videos of it. I talked to both of them after the game, and I made the same comment to both of them. You're a problem. And they were if you have two young men who are that dynamic with the ball, whether they score or not when they have the ball, it doesn't really matter that much, because they are causing problems for the other team with the things that they can do. And then getting those crosses in there into the middle, finding Zubak, that's going to create more goals as we go, through the playoffs coming up. The first half of the game, I thought Orange County was absolutely fantastic. To me, and again, least knowledgeable of us out there, watching them again from field level, that was about as good a 45 minutes as I feel like this team has played this entire year as a whole without scoring a goal. At halftime, I was heading up top, ran it, saw Kyle and Ryan Flood standing there. And, I talked to him for a second and said, how good do these guys look tonight? I mean, is this about as good as we've played all year? And Kyle was, well, we missed a couple of things. I said, yeah, well, you can see things that I can't, Kyle. And Ryan's like, no, they look really good out there tonight. So even they were agreeing that, the team was playing solid. And we're talking about playing against a New Mexico team who, again, number one team in the West. I think third best record overall in the league. Is that right? Third best record in the league. 7 road wins this year. 7. The most dynamic team on the road this year, come into our house and get shut out. That is a huge, huge statement by our defense on Saturday night. Again, that is what is going to win us games over the next 5, 4, however many more weeks we keep playing. That is what's going to win us games going through the rest of the season, is that defense, is the goalkeeping by Colin Shuttler. Marcus being out was big. I mean, obviously he's been huge lately, but I thought that Ashton came in and he did an absolutely fantastic job playing next to Dylan all night. I really liked his confidence. He hasn't gotten a lot of minutes in recent weeks. Few minutes here, few minutes there. He hasn't gotten a full 90 in I don't know how long, but he came out there and he did exactly what you're supposed to do when you are the number 3 guy, as it would be, or the number 4 guy, wherever he sits in the depth chart. He had a fantastic game. I would have loved to have seen us put one in the back of the net, and we had some opportunities that we didn't take advantage of. Fortunately, offside got their goal called back. I was on the other end, so I couldn't really see it too well. But overall, end of the night, a draw and clinch a playoff berth. That's what the team needed. That's what the team did, and we all got to celebrate a little bit afterwards. It was a good time. You missed out, Ray. Way more fun than Not Scary Farm. Not even close.
Yeah. If I can give a little bit more credit to Ashton Miles, Ashish Chadha, these are, Ashish has played all over the pitch this year, and he's kind of done what's asked of him. And I love seeing him in this dual pivot situation next to Seth. I love watching him spray passes all over. Is he Kyle Scott? No. But it's nice to have something that's a little bit different. Almost a little bit more direct. And it's been good to see him play to his strengths. Obviously, he missed a lot of time to injury last year. And, again, is not a left back, but was a left back for a couple months this year. Ashton Miles to just slot right in and to do well. I mean, he's 20 years old. He's still super young, and he looks like he's fit and ready for this level, and looks like he belongs on a team. He looks like he belongs on a playoff team. Him starting was no fluke, and he deserved that. Ray,
okay. Let me say something real quick, Ray. Let me say something real quick. In regards to Russell's comment about Ben's shot there towards the end of the game, I had a direct line. And you ever hear that statement about his eyes got really big when guys are playing in professional sports games? I was looking straight at his face, and Ben's eyes just went. They were huge, and he saw that he had it, and it just, unfortunately, it didn't work out. It looked like he might have been a little bit nervous because he was coming up on that ball. And you know what? The kid's 18 years old. It was a monster moment. And if he put that ball in the back of the net, it would have been probably one of the highlights of his entire life up to this point. But yeah, Russell, I was looking right at Ben, and yeah, he didn't do well on that one, but it happens. He's young. So go ahead, Ray. I'm sorry.
No, I just want to jump back because Dylan was talking about Ashton Miles, and I just wanted to throw in a comment here because, again, I didn't watch this match, but players like Ashton Miles, we're seeing the benefit of all the playing time he had to play early in the season because of injuries. He gained a lot of confidence at this level. Yes, he hasn't played as much lately, but I think for us fans, you're still confident when someone like an Ashton Miles is called upon because all the minutes he played and you saw what he did, and he grew in confidence early in the season. So now he's ready for this moment when he gets called upon in a playoff type atmosphere match. That's going to be the benefit of him. Some of these other young players that have had to play minutes that maybe we weren't anticipating seeing them as much this season. All that injury time early on in the season, when we were struggling, but we were giving players minutes, we're now seeing the benefits of that because now an Ashton Miles can step up in a match where you need a result, and you don't feel nervous with Ashton Miles playing in the match. You don't feel nervous with an Ashish Chadha playing in the match. You don't feel nervous with some of the other youngsters that are playing big minutes in matches that count because of all the experience they've got early in the season. So that's been a benefit there. Gentlemen, any other comments about the New Mexico match before we move on and look ahead?
I would like to talk a little bit about after the match. You guys weren't there.
Hold on really quick before you go, Larry. Does Dylan have anything about the match first before we move to after the match?
I did. Let's go in chronological order. Excuse me. we very easily deserved a pen at the end of this one. Chris Gloucester was not even looking at the ball as he drags his man down. And hey, that's a pen. I was going to normally say 10 out of 10 times, 9 out of 10 times. We could have come away with this with 3 points. And we didn't. And it's okay. We got the result that we needed, and we're a playoff team. And I think the team can still take a lot of confidence that said, hey, we went to New Mexico in a terrible run of form, and we only lost 2-0. And then we played them at the end of the year with a whole bunch of starters missing, and we drew 0-0. And New Mexico didn't offer a lot in this match. It's been mentioned quite a few times by people listening to the show right now. Yes, Greg Hurst was completely shut down. He was losing his mind. He had basically nothing to offer. Hey, congrats. He scored. It was offside. We have a lot of confidence to take from this match. I hope the fans recognize that as well, because I'm sure the players, while disappointed did not get 3 points, took a lot from Saturday. Larry, I'm sure you drank plenty at that party afterwards, so tell us all about it.
Well, no, I did not drink plenty. I had a drink and a shot, which, by the way, was courtesy of James, our faithful leader and the owner of the club. They had a nice little party for those of us who wanted to go over underneath the scoreboard. And what was really cool is Danny Stone came out, and Peter Nugent was out there. James was there. English Dan was there. And then a bunch of the players came out too. Marcus, Seth, God, who else was there? Owen, Dylan, Shuttler. No, not that Dylan. Not that Dylan. Dylan Powers.
Yeah, guys, I'm not that good. Come on.
You have better hair, though. I mean, he's got pretty good hair, though, too. Everybody does compared to me. But it was really cool that they did that for us, and they announced it, and a bunch of us, we were under the scoreboard, took a great big group shot. As each of the players was coming out, they had their theme song or their player chant sang to them, and they were really loving it. And what was also really cool is that when the CLC and those of us who were there were singing Seth Kasipli's song, you could see the guys on the team, Marcus, Owen, they're actually singing along with us because they know the words to it as well. And you can see how much they were enjoying it and having fun with us there at the same time. And I had a nice conversation with Pete Nugent and with Danny Stone as well. And it was great just to get to talk to them as people and get to know a little bit more about them and who they are, and not just in a soccer sense. So it was a great community moment for the Orange County Soccer Club fans, along with players and front office. So I just want to give a shout out to James for having that little party for us. It was a lot of fun. It was a good time. So what's next, Ray?
So let's talk about this. Let's sort of set up the scenario for the final match for Orange County. So as of right now, and I'm going to ask producer Andy if he can put up the standings, if he still has those available in the Western Conference. Orange County is currently sitting 7th on the table. I believe they are at 43 points. Oakland is just ahead of them with 44 points. Phoenix is just behind with 42 points. So if you think about that, any three of those spots, 6th, 7th, 8th, are up for grabs for these teams. Obviously, if all the teams do their job and win, then they're where they are. Orange County does have an opportunity if Oakland stumbles and either gets a draw or a loss and Orange County gets a victory to move on up. I don't know the tiebreaker off the top of my head between Oakland and Orange County, so I don't know what happens if Oakland loses, Orange County wins. I'm not even going to think about that.
Well, if that happens, we go 46 and they're at 44.
If we tie and they lose?
You didn't say that. You said if Orange County wins and they lose.
Well, people know what I was talking about, Larry.
I don't think they do.
Tie and they lose. Then we're even at 44. I don't know the tiebreaker because I don't know the results between the teams. Y'all can look at that in a little bit. So there's a lot at stake here with this last match. That means either a match more than likely against New Mexico, Las Vegas, or Sacramento on the road. Colorado Springs is actually right there as well. Memphis even has a chance to go there. I think no one wants to travel to Memphis. I think that's the one location no one wants to have an away match at because that's a very difficult travel for a team, for a fan base. and whatnot. All the others are at least somewhat obtainable. I know there's easy options to get to Colorado Springs from John Wayne, Sacramento, Las Vegas, and Albuquerque, New Mexico. The opponent for Orange County is Hartford Athletic. Hartford is in the fight for a playoff spot as well. They are, I believe, currently sitting at 9th, but they have an extra match in hand, which gives them an opportunity. They have actually, so there's good and bad here. They have a midweek match against Tampa Bay, which can move them up into the playoff positions. And then they have a match against Orange County over the weekend. So the bad news is it's a Hartford Athletic team that is still fighting to even make the playoffs. So they're going to be giving it their all over these next two matches against Tampa Bay and against Orange County. The good thing is both of their matches this week and their match this past Saturday, all road matches. So they had to go to Tulsa this past weekend. They're doing a midweek match in Tampa, which if you are not familiar with flight times between Hartford and Tampa, that's an over 3-hour flight. And then they have to go cross country, which is like a 5.5-hour flight to play against Orange County on the weekend. So the good news is they are going to be damn exhausted coming out to Orange County, but who knows with the adrenaline pumping and they're fighting for their playoff lives, if that's even going to matter. What are your thoughts? I'm going to go to you first, Dylan. With all that we've talked about here, this is not an easy match for Orange County, but Orange County needs to have a result if they want to secure a spot where they want it. I would assume the hope is they can move up to, 6 or stay at 7. I don't think they want to drop to 8 and make the trip out to Albuquerque. What are your thoughts with this match against Hartford Athletic at home this weekend?
The players want 3 points because they just ultimately want to win every match. I don't think they're concerned at all about playoff implications, where they might have to fly to, Beale Street. I don't think they're concerned about where the fans might have to fly to or drive to. They're concerned about what Hartford is going to do to try and score. And, if Hartford's defense can cope with a Cameron Dunbar, a Chris Hagart, or a Bryce Jameson, or an Ethan Zubak. I mean, I'll give plenty of credit to him. He has to be there and he has to finish those chances. But can they handle the wingers? Can they handle the midfield? I think that's what they're focused on. I think that's the only thing that we should focus on is, hey, could we get 3 more points out of this? Everything is still to play for Orange County as well. So, yes, Hartford does, I think, depending on the result on Wednesday, also, have everything to play for, but it's doable for Orange County, I think. Maybe I'm full of undue confidence, but there's no reason that Orange County should fear another team coming to Orange County for any reason, let alone playing on short rest, playing across the country. This is our game to lose.
Larry, your thoughts of this match at home versus a Hartford team that's going to be fighting for their playoff lives.
A Hartford team that is fighting for their playoff lives, plus a Hartford team that has only lost 1 match in their last 9. So again, another team that is very much on form. What does bode well for us, of course, like has already been talked about, is the travel. They got to go from Hartford down to Florida, then Florida all the way across country over here to California on short notice or on short rest. So that is going to bode well for us. That is an advantage for us, obviously. Our guys are going to be well rested from last Saturday. We're going to have the captain back in the lineup. He'll be back there on that back line on Saturday. Yes, I feel fully confident saying that, Dylan. I saw that look. I had a chat with him. He's feeling good. So I asked him how many fingers I was holding up, and he said none, which I was holding up none. So there's no concussion. He's good. Hartford's been a pretty good team as of late. And when you're a team who is fighting for your life, you're always going to be a dangerous team, especially in this sport. It's such a crazy, crazy game that we all are fans of and that we love so much. Literally anything can happen. They're not all that great on the road, which is definitely going to bode well for us. But I think at the end of the day, I think that we are going to come out of this game with 3 points. I think that we are going to move. I'm hoping that we get to move up a slot to that number 6 position. If we don't, number 7's fine. No problem traveling to Las Vegas. No problem traveling to SAC. Either way, I'm happy with it. I think we're going to have a good result on Saturday. I think Hartford's going to be tired, and they're just going to be worn out from this grind that they will have been on for the last couple of weeks. And that's going to just bode well for us.
Yeah, it would be obviously it would be nice if we were playing against a team that's not in a battle for playoff positioning or a playoff spot. Obviously, if you're facing one of those teams at home for the last match of the season, maybe there's that desire for a team to give their fans one last victory before the season's over. But a team on the road that's completely knocked out of the playoffs is pretty much just sort of clocking in, clocking out more than likely. Unfortunately, that's not the scenario for Orange County here. It's going to be a tough match. I'm hoping Orange County is going into this focused and wanting to maintain their form and maintain their streak of not conceding goals and not losing a match. Because obviously at this point, Orange County has already punched their ticket for the playoffs. If they lose this match, they're still in the playoffs. So really in this match, Orange County has nothing to play for other than their positioning. But apparently you two and most of the fans listening, there's not really a care as to who we're playing against in the first round, although I'm not quite on that page. I'm really into wanting to see who we play against. And again, I know people are like, shut up, Ray, but I 100% do not want Memphis on the road in the first round of the playoffs. That is a nightmare scenario for anyone that's ever tried to fly to Memphis, travel through Memphis, and then to play there on the road. 2 time zone difference is not an ideal situation for any of the Western Conference teams. I guarantee if you talk to any of the coaches in the Western Conference in the bottom half of the table, they're circling Memphis as I do not want to have to travel there for the playoffs because it's a difficult travel. Other than that, all the other teams, not so bad. But again, Hartford needs results. They haven't punched their ticket yet. Now, maybe that changes. I don't know the scenario in the East if they win midweek against Tampa, but against Orange County, if they need the victory and Orange County really doesn't need to do anything if they don't care who they're playing against in the first round, that's the scary part. The hope is, though, they come in, they want to keep the momentum going. They want to concede no goals, and they want to maintain that streak of no losses. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know if either of you know anything about Hartford to want to inject any tactical or thoughts on the players before we do our predictions, but I'll give the opportunity. I think Dylan would be the one that might know something.
I don't have any specifics, but you never want to play against Brendan Burke team. He is a good manager. He sets his teams up really well. And when you give him control of just the club on the the technical side, the way that Hartford has, you'll get good results. Yes, they're in 9th place on 43 points. Not to speak ill of teams that are on 43 points, but it took a while for things to get going. Their top goal scorer went scoreless for 12. Stop me if that sounds kind of familiar. And then he broke out and scored, I think, 7 from 9, something like that. So he's cooled down a little bit recently, but this is ultimately going to be a tough test. I raised the question to you two. Is there a better situation as you head into the playoffs? You're guaranteed a playoff spot. So in theory, we have nothing to play for because we made it. Is there any better test than a team that's trying to get into the playoffs? So it's just like another tune-up playoff match. I mean, to me, this is almost the best case scenario at home. The players get a full week of training and they don't have to travel. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Good test, good bit of rest, as opposed to you go and you play Miami in Miami. No disrespect to Pitbull, Mr. Worldwide, or the 305. But you play a team that has 11 points, hasn't done anything all month, all year, really, and has nothing to play for. Like, that's just a waste of time.
Here's my big concern with it, and I'll let you speak, Larry. Again, I'm hoping Hartford gets 3 points midweek against Tampa, because then it makes their road a little bit easier, their battle a little bit easier for the spot. It's not as dangerous. They still will have to fight for something. My concern is you have a team that's literally fighting for another game. So are they going to go a little bit extra out? Or are they going to maybe go a little bit harder on that slide tackle or a little bit harder into that jump to battle for the ball to get the head in and then potentially injure an OC player in that moment? That's the scary part with one of these matches, because you're going to have a team that is maybe putting the little extra into the match to try and fight to get a result so they can make the playoffs.
That happened with the team that is currently bottom of the West last week, and they have nothing to play for. So,
no, I get it. But yeah, you said they have nothing to play for. It still happened. This is going to be a team that has everything to play for. So they may go that little extra bit. They may play a little bit more aggressive, a little bit harder. And again, that's my biggest concern with a match like this, where Orange County has punched their ticket. They're guaranteed a spot in the playoffs. Hartford is fighting for their playoff lives. Is there the potential for them to be a little bit over aggressive and potentially hurt one of our players that we need to rely on? Now, we've talked about in this episode, there's depth. And I'm not saying this will happen, but that is my concern in this scenario. That's where I get concerned about this. Larry.
Players can literally get hurt climbing out of bed in the morning. Okay.
That's you.
Anyone can do anything at any time, but when there's there's moments. Larry, shut up, Larry. There are scenarios though that will lead to a higher chance of an injury or a higher chance of something happening. And I don't care if you don't agree with me, if Dylan doesn't agree with me, but this is what I'm going to say here is in that scenario where a team is fighting for their playoff lives, there is a greater risk at an injury on your team because they're giving the extra, they're leaving it all on the pitch. They're leaving it all there. There's that extra chance.
Ray,
that's all I'm saying.
Yes or no? Ray, can the players can we control that? Can anybody control?
No, I'm not saying, but I'm just answering
no. You said no. That's good. Larry,
I'm answering your question, Dylan, though, because you just brought up the point is like, this is a great match. It's playoff soccer. And you posed a question to us on this. I'm just saying that's my concern with this type of match. Larry, I'll let you talk.
To everybody out there who's listening on the podcast right now, Josh, Irving, Russell, Carter, all of you all out there, does anybody have some pearls we can lend to Ray for him to clutch? Because he's very tense right now, and he's very worried about something that can happen at any given time. Take a breath, Ray. It's going to be Mario. Mario's here too. Mario, do you have any pearls we can lend to Ray for him to clutch? Listen, this game is going to be, like Dylan said, another playoff tune-up against a team that has everything to play for, that is going to have to win to keep themselves alive. Okay, we don't have to win to keep ourselves alive, but Raimundo, but you're talking about something that can happen in any given week, and you're giving far too much.
I'm just talking about odds. I'm talking about odds, Larry. I'm talking about odds, and the odds are greater when a team is going to be giving it all, doing everything they can to try and make sure they make the playoffs. That's all I'm saying.
County, our boys are going to be out there giving it their all just as much, because you know what? They don't want to drop to 8th place. I'm not going to speak for the team, but I'm going to take a crazy guess and say that the team doesn't want to travel to New Mexico or Colorado.
This conversation could go on forever. I guarantee you, because I am not going to back down on my concern with the match. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not going to say there's going to be an injury. Just you guys are very relaxed about the scenario, thinking that this can't happen. Or Larry's like, this can happen anytime. You could wake up out of bed and you can step on a nail, or you can be driving your car and you can, a ram runs into your car and you get hurt that way. I don't know. That's.
Are
Larry's
you talking
thought.
about the truck, which is statistically
animal or truck? I don't care. It could be either one.
Okay.
Dylan's like, yeah, who cares? It's not going to happen. I'm just saying it could happen, and there's more of a chance because of it. I'm just going statistically, the chances are going to be higher. Okay, this could go on forever. I don't want to make this a 2-hour long episode talking about
so
this.
many questions.
Score predictions.
Stats.
Score predictions.
Work.
Score predictions. Dylan.
Orange County is going to win this match 2-0.
Larry.
And there will be no sending offs or injuries.
oddly enough, I'm not even going to speak except to say what he just said. 2-0. No send-offs, no injuries.
I love that Larry keeps pointing to me when he's trying to reference you, Dylan. So that's the way that
Well,
works.
that's because my screen is mirrored.
Well, then you got to practice that. There you go. You got it right, Larry. My prediction for this match, Orange County wins 3-0. That is going to be my prediction for this match. And my fingers are crossed, no injuries. I'm not trying to manifest it. I'm just worried about that. I was just trying to show that there is worry on this. We can't think that this is nothing to worry about. Really quick, before we wrap things up, I want to find out, because now we know Orange County's in playoffs. First round matchup. We know we're going to be on the road. What is your preferred destination? And what is your absolutely, I don't want to go there destination? Everyone knows my absolutely doesn't want to go there destination is Memphis, but I want to hear what you guys think on this. So Dylan, what is your, I'll do my preferred first, just so I can get mine out of the way. Cause you know what I don't want to, my preferred would be Sacramento. Go Dylan.
I hate to agree with you, but for obvious reasons, because I have the misfortune of living in this place, I would also prefer to have to go to Sacramento, because it would mean I would get to see one more Orange County game this season, at least. I wouldn't have to travel.
Where don't you want to go? Or where do you not want Orange County to have to play in that opening round on the road? And we know the 5 options there.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Vegas on this one. I would like to save it for further down the line.
All right, Larry, what are your preferred first round opponent on the road or destination, and your least preferred?
You know what? I am absolutely okay with Vegas or Sacramento. Either way, I feel like
you got to pick one. Pick one.
Pick one. Okay, Memphis, just to piss you off.
Okay, and where do you not want to go?
All week long, we could all sing it. It could be a new chant. It would be so awesome.
That's how I got to Memphis. Love that song. It's a great song.
How am I the only logical person on this podcast? You all are just crazy.
Been. You never
have been. Never.
As you scream into your microphone, how am I the only logical one here?
I am.
And he also gets closer to his microphone. He always gets up in there. Where do I know? I do not want to go to New Mexico.
That's a good one. I'll agree. That's a good one, Larry.
They're 1 versus 8. Hey, you can 1 versus 8 can win. Phoenix proved that last year. However, that's a tough place to play, and that is a really good, really big, really strong team. And whoever does play them, I hope they knock them out before we have to get to them. It would be very much appreciated, whoever the number 8 seed is. If it's not us, Phoenix, go pull off another miracle like last year. I will be a Phoenix fan for that week.
Don't forget about concerns on altitude there. I know Colorado Springs is also in there, but New Mexico, Albuquerque is still pretty high up there in altitude, and it could be a tough match. Why are you shaking your head, Dylan?
Because physiologically, there is not enough of a difference at 4,000 feet for it to really impact the players.
Dylan.
Yeah, how's that? Some stats, buddy. I can back that up.
Really quick. Let's do this. What did we learn this episode?
Baby.
What did we learn? And I'll go first. I have learned that we can reference music not once, not twice, but 3 times in an episode when we're talking about Orange County Soccer Club. Bubba Sparks, Pitbull, and Memphis, Beale Street. Dylan, what did you learn this episode?
We referenced it more than 3 times, actually. We referenced the song 3 times. I think I learned that you really took that comment about you saying "quote unquote" smart things on the show to your head, and I don't know what's gone. Somehow it's even bigger than it was before. It's mildly terrifying. I also know that you might need some like Zoloft or something, because I don't think there is any statistics or any data that would back up the idea that a player is more likely to try and injure an opponent to get into the playoffs.
I'm not saying they're trying to injure a player. I'm saying they're going to be more aggressive, which can lead to a potential injury. That is what I said. I'm going to shut up now. Larry, what did you learn this episode?
Well, we learned that for all of your travel needs, dial 1-800-SAMORA, and he can talk to you about flights to anywhere in the country, but he can't get to Memphis.
Oh, my gosh. Y'all are crazy. Y'all take my words and you just twist them around. to your liking. I'm not saying you can't get to Memphis. It's just difficult, and it's a longer flight, and it's not as nice of a place to go to. Let's wrap things up, though. I want to thank everyone that has listened to this episode and has heard some great stuff from me and some so-so stuff from Dylan and Larry. I want to thank my co-hosts for participating with their nonsense, Dylan and Larry, producer Andy. Also, if you've enjoyed what you've heard here and you agree 100% with what I have to say, like, follow, share, all that stuff with us on social media and your podcast provider. If you don't agree with me, do it anyway so you can, side with Dylan or side with Larry. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but do it if you want to. That's going to wrap up this episode. Next week, we will do our recap of the match against Hartford, and we will be able to start previewing playoffs because we'll know where we're going from there. Again, hopefully not Memphis, but let's do this. Thank you for listening. This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, and we are out.